efficiency for all of our students, but breaking that pattern of incremental change speaks to the focused efforts of our teachers, our support staff, and everyone throughout the district who always had this as a priority, but who've become even more energized and focused around this as a goal. And so our reading gains also surpassed those of the state, which only witnessed 2.3% increase in the percentage of students proficient in reading. The 2011 math assessment was significantly changed from last year, and proficiency measures both in St. Paul and across the state declined. We don't say that as an excuse. It's simply a fact that the first year after a new assessment, there is typically a dip, but we will use that as a baseline for future year comparisons, and we're confident about the direction that we're going with our math curriculum. And just as we saw with our reading curriculum and support, staying the course, not changing from year to year, has made a difference. So while those results are not what we had hoped, we believe that we are going in the right direction. Although the achievement gap remains an issue for us, as it does across the country, there was a consistent but modest reduction in the disparities between Caucasian students and students of color in reading. Significant gaps remain in math, and all of the information about this year's results that we have currently available is on our data center, which you can get to from the main page of our website. I am not going to go into greater detail tonight. The meeting on October 18th will include a comprehensive review of our achievement vision card, which includes all of our MCA scores, grad results, and MAP data, as well as the AYP results, which we believe will be released by MDE on September 30th. And then I would also just mention, with respect to AYP, adequate yearly progress, we're awaiting a final determination on how MDE will handle this year's calculations and potential sanctions. As you're aware, MDE has requested a waiver from various provisions of the NCLB law. We anticipate further clarity in just the upcoming days about that waiver request. So on behalf of the superintendent, I want to take this time to publicly thank the staff for all their hard work over the past school year. Our efforts are paying off, and we look forward to even greater results and focus and energy in the coming year. And also, as the superintendent has said time and time again, the elimination of racial disparities in our district. So with that, I can take questions, or Ms. Walker can take questions if necessary, but otherwise, we will have a very comprehensive, detailed report in October.
Okay. So are there any questions to be asked at this time? Dr. Hardy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It would be helpful, at least for me as a board member, perhaps my colleagues, and people in the public, as that report's being prepared for October meeting, to discuss again the challenges we face as an urban district in addressing those proficiency disparities. Because on the surface, as we heard in the public comment, as other people have said, it's a bit challenging for some people to understand why we put the amount of money into employees and curriculum, et cetera, programs and services, and the other specific focuses we have to increase proficiency for our students. Particular type of reading program, particular type of math program, et cetera, et cetera. And 4% is great, as superintendent, or I want to call you superintendent again, as Ms. Kelly said. But then, of course, we want to get higher. So just to help people understand why those gains are single digit and not double digit. And the reason I request that, Madam Chair, is when Ms. Kelly was our interim superintendent, and we had the district goal of 10% gains, and we didn't reach that in most of our schools, people were asking, so why not? Well, I mean, why specifically can't St. Paul Public Schools make that happen? And so I was trying to explain, urban district and the student population and some of the other non-education specific factors that come to the table to help them be better learners. So I think it'd be helpful in that report to not just report out numbers, but to really get into some social factors and other than I think our teachers in particular can help put some of that language together along with our district staff. So that's something I'll just throw out there for
In
consideration.
preparation for that meeting in October, great. Thank you. Director Carroll?
Following on to that, thank you for broaching those issues. And I think, while you absolutely aren't doing this, and no one in this administration is doing this, I think it would be very helpful to make sure we clearly differentiate between explanations and excuses, since we are not making excuses, explanations, and also, in addition to absolute numbers, which are essential, because that is how the numbers are tracked by the state, to also look at growth, because I know we've done that internally, and we want to make sure that we explain the difference really well leading up to it, because a single presentation just is never enough, obviously, right? And that we continue to focus on closing gaps while raising all student achievement. I thought the way it's been articulated in the last few conversations we've had in this public setting about that has been clearer than I've ever heard before. And I'd like us to continue that because, you know, it's a rule of 7 before anybody hears anything. So I just, we won't make excuses, but it's why it takes longer for some kids to learn, and why our extended day learning opportunities within the school year and our extended year learning opportunities are just so critical as we continue to make them better, to make sure we continue to recognize their value.
Dr. Risberg?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And just to add to that for the October report, to remind everyone to help connect the dots about where we're moving forward in the future through our Strong Schools, Strong Community Plan, about how we're going to continue to improve achievement, reduce the achievement gap, what the timeline is for that, but help connect the dots from where we are now to where we're going in the next few years, and where our ultimate goals are going to be in the next 3 or 4 years.
Right, right. With goal number 1 being our primary goal of achievement, so
I
that's,
think I need like those United Way little things.
the
that show
barometers.
how we're
Right.
going, those little temperature charts.
Any other questions? Okay, Chief Kelly, if you want to continue to the human resource transactions, I guess, if there's,
Yes, the last item on my report, thank you, and all of those recommendations and suggestions were duly noted, so we will include those. The last item on my report for tonight is the human resource transactions, which include the monthly personnel transactions beginning on page, and I'm afraid my page is not the
Page numbers
correct
did
49.
change, I noticed.
49 is.
49 of the board book, and the addition, and there are no additional motions this time that I'm aware of. So just the personnel transactions as noted in the book.
So,
And that concludes my report. Thank
okay,
you.
thank you. So is there a motion to
I move
approve?
approval.
Is there it's been moved and second. Any discussion? We will vote now.
Ms. O'Connell?
Yes.
Mr. Broderick?
Yes.
Ms. Street Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Risberg?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Kong Tao?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Those human resource transactions have been approved. Thank you very much. Director Hardy?
Sure. One last comment while we wrap up the report here, and thanks for that report, Ms. Kelly. We were thanking the people who helped contribute to opening day and opening week, and 3M and others have been wonderful. We got to thank the vendors who brought all the food for breakfast to go, because
That was